Welcome back, accounting boffins. What are we busy with? Creditors recon. Which one? We're dealing with the external creditors recon. What are we doing? We're reconciling, very important, watch this. We're reconciling the creditors ledger account, right? With what? With the statement that you are receiving. Now, an important consideration is that your creditors ledger will show a credit balance indicating a liability, but the statement that you are receiving will show you a debit balance. Why? Because obviously the supplier will be saying that we have a debtor, right? Okay, now, just to draw a parallel for you, this is the same with your bank recon, right? Have you ever considered that in your bank recon, if your account has a debit balance, the statement that you are receiving from the bank will indicate a credit balance. Why? You saying you have money in the bank owes you money. The bank will say, yes, we owe you money, therefore a credit balance. Okay, so by the same token, when dealing with a creditor, the balance that appears in our books will be a credit balance indicating a liability, whereas the statement that you are receiving will indicate a debit balance indicating that you have a debtor. Okay, let's look at this question here. MZN Traders buys goods on credit from Styles suppliers. The information relates to July 2020. Okay, meaning therefore that we have a table to indicate how the balances will change when preparing the creditors reconciliation, indicate the figure as well as a plus for an increase and a minus for a decrease. So, balance due to Style suppliers, we are saying that we owe Style suppliers an amount of 12,160. Can you see that that's appearing in our books in the creditors ledger? Right. What are they saying? They're saying no. According to our records, they're saying that MZN Traders, that's us, owes whom? Style suppliers. According to their statement, they're saying you're owing us an amount of 41,380. Once again, note the difference in the balances. So the credit balance is from your creditors ledger and the debit balance is from the statement that you are receiving, right? Understand, who are we? We are MZN Traders, right? So in our books, we are MZN Traders. In our books, we have an account there for Styles suppliers, right? Who are we buying from? We are buying from Style suppliers. They are our creditors. Okay, let's look at the first challenge that we have. A payment of 8,700 by MZN Traders was not recorded in the creditors ledger account and does not appear on the bank statement either. Okay, interesting one. There was a payment that was made. It's not appearing in our books, neither is it appearing in the statement, meaning it has been left out in both the places. How are we going to correct this? Very simple. This is what we do, right? So the balances before the errors and omissions, there's the amount that we're saying we're owing them. They're saying, no, you owe us an amount of 41,380. There's the discrepancy. We need to reconcile that. So here's the payment. Take it off minus from our records. Take it off from their records minus 8,700. Why are we effecting the change in both? Because this has been left out in totality. Neither is it in our records, nor is it in the statement. As a result, we have to include it in both places. Right, now next one. A discount of 950 for an early payment was correctly recorded by MZN Traders. This was not reflected in the statement. There we go. Simple. Go into my reconciliation. The error is where the discount was not reflected there. As a result, we now subtract the 950, which is the discount. We have recorded it, so ours is hunky-dory, no problem. The error is here in the statement, as a result of which we now subtract it, meaning we've sorted out the discrepancy. Next one. MZN Traders recorded a debit note of 1,540 in the creditors ledger account of Style Suppliers in error. This was for goods returned to another supplier. Right. First question you ask yourself, you've indicated that you have returned goods to Style Suppliers, and as a result, you've entered it into their account. But you return goods to somebody else, another supplier, meaning that you have incorrectly made the transaction in the records of Style Suppliers in your creditors ledger. We, the business, have made an error. Let's correct it. There we go. Can you see? Because we initially subtracted the amount, we now add it back. There's the 1,540. Where are we correcting it? In our books, in the creditors ledger, we're adding an amount of 1,540, indicating that we took off the amount in error because it was goods returned to another supplier, as a result of which we're now updating the records of Style Suppliers, and therefore in their account we must add back the 1,540. Next one. An invoice of 28,600 received from Style Suppliers was recorded correctly in the creditors account. The statement of account reflected this invoice as 26,800. Okay, ascertain who has made the error, right? Let's check. An invoice of 28,600 received from Style Suppliers, recorded correctly in the creditors ledger. Our books are correct. The statement of account reflected this invoice as 26,800. Clearly you can see the error is on the part of Style Suppliers. They undercharged on the invoice, or they added a lesser amount, and the difference was the 1,800, which needs to be added to their account. Because by doing this now, notice, if you now add the 1,800, you're now making the two invoices amounts the same, which is correct, right? So therefore, the error was made by the supplier, their statement is incorrect, we therefore correct the statement. Next one. The statement of account showed an invoice for goods purchased 5,930. This transaction was not recorded in the books of MZN Traders. Again, ask yourself the question, where is the error? Is the error in the creditors ledger, our books, or is the error in the books of the supplier, namely the statement? Remember what we said. Just to recap, a very important point to remember here is that your creditors recon is an extension of your statement. So it's what would then appear on next month's statement. So any errors that are made by the supplier on their statement will be corrected, obviously, in the statement column. Once again, coming back to the error, the statement of account showed an invoice that was purchased. This transaction was not recorded in the books of MZN Traders, meaning that we did not include the invoice of 5,930, and therefore we correct our books by doing what? By adding the 5,930. Remember, it's appearing on the statement. It's not appearing in our books. Therefore, we update our books by making that entry of 5,930. Okay, next one. An invoice of 4,700 was incorrectly recorded as a payment by MZN traders. Once again, ask yourself the question, who has made the error? The error has been made by us. Therefore, we're going to have to correct it in our records. Now watch this here, very important. If you look at the amount was 4,700, right? We bought goods for 4,700, but we recorded it as a payment to them. Therefore, initially what we did was, we said, fine, show that we paid them 4,700. Now watch this here very carefully, guys. You can't only make an entry with the 4,700. Reason? If you make a single entry of the 4,700, you're basically just cancelling out your error. But because you had bought goods from them, you showed it as a payment, meaning you reduced the amount by 4,700. In fact, let me show it to you in another way, just for it to make more sense to you. Here's your creditor, right? If you showed that you had paid, it says you had paid them, so you were supposed to put in 4,700 on the credit side initially. What did you do? You put in an amount of 4,700 on the debit side. Can you see? So if you just basically make one error, you're just cancelling out the 4,700. What do you actually have to do? You have to double the amount to get the correct amount of 9,400, as a result of which you now can see that you must increase that amount by 4,700 times 2, which is the 9,400. It will now have the effect of showing you that we had actually purchased goods to the value of 4,700 from our supplier. Right, next one. A debit balance of 2,925 for repairs to a photocopier was transferred from the account of style suppliers in the debtors ledger to the account in the creditors ledger. This transaction was not recorded by style suppliers. Clearly, it is something that they have to record, and you can see. Let's just take this one step back. If you're transferring, watch, a debit balance of 2,925, right? So your debtors ledger, a 2,925 debit. So if you're transferring it to the creditors control, watch what we're doing. We're saying debtors ledger, credit 2,925, creditors control, debit 2,925. This entry here, if we now show it, there you can see minus 2,925 from the accounts of the supplier. Once again, watch, you debiting your creditors control. There we go. And by debiting the creditors control, you are actually decreasing it in terms of the amount that's due to the creditor. Therefore, the 2,925. Okay, next one. A payment of 10,275 made on the 29th by MZN Traders was not reflected on the statement. Clearly, this amount of 10,275 payment was not reflected, obviously, as a result of a timing difference. You can see the time factor, and that would result in us now decreasing the statement amount by an amount of 10,275. And what happens? There we go. After we reconcile all our entries in our records, all the challenges in terms of the statement would result in the two accounts, the creditors ledger account, as well as the statement now reflecting an amount of 20,330, which is post the reconciliation. We have reconciled the creditors ledger account with the creditor statement. Okay guys, summary. Whenever you're drawing up a reconciliation between your creditors ledger and your creditor statement, step number one, ask yourself, where has the error or omission not, or rather let's change the question. Ask yourself the question, where is the error? Is it in my creditors ledger or is it in my statement? Where is the omission? Do it in the necessary column, and then you will see when you've done all the omissions and or errors, you will then reconcile your creditors ledger account with your creditors statement. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We're going to practice. Master it, so then you will know exactly how to draw up a reconciliation. But remember, this is the external recon, where you're reconciling your creditors ledger account with your creditors statement. You must also be able to do a bank recon and also an internal creditors recon, where we reconcile the creditors control account with the creditors list. And not forgetting the debtors recon, where we reconcile the debtors control account with our debtors list. So recon all the time. Once you've reconciled, you are definitely an accounting shining star. Until the next time, be good.